for me. Maybe not for you, but for me. I got it out. Breathe. Talked to Becky a little bit about it, gave me some perspective. She gave me some perspective, and all right, calmed me down about halfway. So then I'm like, all right, let me just go in bed and I'll just do a meditation. So I laid in bed, and it got clear really fast. And I started to say, I forgive you for being arrogant. The very next thing was, Sean, forgive yourself for being judgmental. That was the crux of it. I was judging her judgment. I was being judgmental of the fact that she was being judgmental. So I kept repeating that. I forgive myself for being judgmental. I forgive myself for being judgmental. I forgive myself. And pretty soon, I fell asleep. And I slept through the night very peacefully. Being able to get that quickly was a gift. So I was able to say, I forgive you for being arrogant. But more importantly is I forgive myself for being judgmental. So thank you, universe, for giving me that to practice. And I woke up this morning and I started to write more intelligently what I was really feeling. Because last night I was just feeling it, This morning I was able to put words to what I was feeling. And I wrote out just for me, wrote out a nice thing, like journaling. This is what I'm feeling, this is what's happening, this is what I'm willing to do different for me, and for, here's what I'm willing to do here, here's what I'm willing to let go of. So I got to practice this for myself. I tell it to you because it's just so important to catch it as quick as we can. To catch those little moments, because really it wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't that much different than a million conversations I've had before, but this one for some reason triggered me. It was a seemingly little thing that turned out to be a big thing inside of me. Whether it's a little thing or a big thing, whether it was a close by thing or something that happened a long, long time ago, what I know is that if we harbor resentment, we are not free. If we're harboring any kind of resentment, if we're hanging on to any kind of righteous indignation, we are not free. And this is visually what it looks like. That's what it looks like when we hold on so tightly to the old resentment. We, in effect, have chained ourselves to the person or the event. That visual, that's powerful. We're doing this to ourselves when we hold on to the self-righteous indignation. It's like the person's trying to move away from us and we're saying, no, I'm holding on to you. And we're chaining ourselves. I don't think any of us want to do this. The visual aid is like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. If I'm going to have any chains, I want them to be made out of soft fabric. And it's going to be my choice. Not that hard-looking chain. So when we hold on, we block that flow completely, and we're not free. I had another experience that I'm going to explain something, the difference between the physical breaking and the emotional and mental breaking. So over 14 years ago, I ended a 15-year relationship. Ooh, that goes back. I broke the physical chains of this physical relationship pretty easily and pretty fast. I knew that it was time to break the chains, and I broke the chains and walked away. The emotional and mental chains took longer. Because walking away from it turned out to be the easy part. What I had to go through on the inside to forgive took many more years. So often we think we're going to just walk away. Okay, I'm going to break the chain, I'm going to take it away, and then we walk away, and now we're left with just us. We can't blame that person anymore for what they did to us. It's only us. So breaking the mental and emotional chains is what we're doing here. We have to address that self-righteous indignation, which is usually what it is. This is how I know my litmus test. This is how I know when the mental and emotional chain is finally broken. When I can think of that situation and it's just a memory, but there's no emotional charge. When the emotional charge is dissipated, the healing has happened. The forgiveness has happened. And I offer that to you as a practice. Check it out. Think about how you feel about things. Don't purposely rile yourself up. But if you can say, okay, that's a memory that happened. Without the emotional charge, chances are you're well along your way to forgiving, or what did I say? Letting go. Just simply means letting go. It doesn't mean letting off the hook. It doesn't mean that that person's behavior is okay. It means we're not going to carry it around. So you can check that out. Huh. Okay, let's go. Or, I get riled up. There's more work to be done then. And we do our work. I'm going to mention how that might look in practice in just a minute. Ultimately, what I'm talking about is a shift in consciousness. A shift in consciousness that moves us from a fearful-based way of living to a love-based way of living. And it moves us out of being a victim. So here's some ways that I use to practice. And I actually wrote them down for us to make it easy. First one is talk it out. Have people that you trust, that you can talk it out, yell it out, complain it out, get it out, talk it out, write it out if you can't talk it out. It's an important step not to bypass. Once we've talked it out, here's the 2 steps that I do. I forgive you and release you from these chains. You can put whatever words in there you want, but it's the basic idea. I forgive you and I release you from these chains. And as I've already mentioned in my own personal example, you'd have to say, I forgive myself and release myself from these chains. This is a way to practice it. So if you can find anything that you're holding on that hasn't been forgiven, hasn't been let go of, talk it out. That might be a therapist, that might be one of our beloved practitioners, that might be me, that might be a close confidant who you know won't judge you when you tell them what it is you're hanging on to. It has to be somebody you trust. And then saying to that person, even if in your own head, even if they've already passed on from this planet, I forgive you and I release you from these chains. And I forgive me and I release me from these chains. Simple, but you know what? You know, on the shampoo bottle, it says you wash your hair, you rinse, and you repeat. Repeat, 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 until you start to feel like something is changing for you. You've got that done. So I'd like you right now to just sort of, in your own mind, you don't have to close your eyes, just ask yourself on the inside, what would it look like, and what might it feel like if I was actually able to break the chains that bind me? What would it look like? What would it feel like if I could break those chains? Debbie and Ross, I'm going to ask you to come and sing about what that would look like, and I'll come back and say a couple more words.
Couldn't help but wonder what he was thinking as he stared